Hello, everybody. Welcome to this special episode of Beware the Board. I hope you have a date this year. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
Yeah.
Why do you sound sad?
I don't know. It's Valentine's Day.
Are
I
you
don't really
sad?
care.
You don't care at all? You don't have any? You're not doing anything?
No. I'm single as a Pringle.
Well, no, there's more than one Pringle in the can.
Like the lone one, that's at the bottom.
And you can't
get
get
your
it because
hand
your
down
hand...
all the way.
Yeah, okay. That's fair.
You do anything for Valentine's Day?
This year?
Yeah. I'd assume so, right? But you're
yeah, I'm poor. Well, okay. Here's my plans for Valentine's Day. For Christmas, I bought my girlfriend tickets to a concert. That concert is 2 days before Valentine's Day. So I was like, could we just, because like we got to go to a different city for the concert. So I was like, we could just get dinner because we're going to Cincinnati for the concert.
Okay.
So I was like, we'll just get a nice dinner in Cincinnati, and then that'll be like a Valentine's Day thing, and then we'll go to the show. That was my plans for Valentine's Day.
Cool deal.
Because I have to work both my jobs on Valentine's Day anyway.
What band are you seeing?
It's a Spanish lyrics called The Wallows.
Okay.
They're really good. You know, have you ever seen, what is it, 13 Reasons Why on Netflix?
I've seen, I think the first season.
So the main dude in that, like the main character, he's the lead singer for the band.
Oh, that's cool.
So she like watched the show and then was like, oh, he does music, and listen to him. I like their music too. I think it's pretty good. So.
All right. If we're talking about music, I know this is unrelated to the podcast, but you know who's coming to town in I want to say April?
Who?
Cake. I don't know if you ever listened to Cake.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm not huge on Cake, but I have listened to some of their stuff.
They're at the Iroquois Amphitheater, I believe.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. Anyway.
Yeah, Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day, yay!
Do you have any ideas for movies we could be watching?
No. Because last year we watched, Valentine.
Yeah.
Which was pretty good. I like that. Has the dude from Angel in it. David something, I think is his name. And then the year before that we did My Bloody Valentine, which is really good. Love that movie. I highly recommend, if you can, watch the uncut version. It has one of the coolest scenes in a horror movie I've ever seen.
You have to watch the uncut version.
You have to.
It has all the scenes that the MPAA made them take out that were supposed to be in the film.
And they are good.
But I know you can get them with the Blu-ray.
That's what I did.
I don't know if you can get them any other way.
I bought the steelbook that came with the original cut and then the unrated cut. And then there's also a director's cut that has all of the commentary and stuff. So it's 3 different discs. Very good steelbook. Highly recommend it. Because, originally when we watched the movie, we watched the normal version, like the normal cut with all the stuff taken out. Then I watched it again with the uncut version. It is significantly better.
Oh, it's night and day. I mean, with all the stuff cut, it feels like a forgettable slasher.
Mm-hmm. But with the stuff left in, it's so good. So no, I don't have any ideas, Ben.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. We're kind of running out of Valentine's movies.
Okay.
Because we did the 2 big Valentine's Day horror movies.
Sure.
And I personally don't really know of any other ones that is so explicit as that.
Sure thing.
So this year, I think I decided to change kind of how we're doing it. Like how I did
St.
for St.
Patrick's
Patrick's Day, where it's like, okay, we can watch Irish films.
Which is so cool, by the way.
For Valentine's Day, we're going to watch just kind of movies that have a focus on romance.
Okay.
Because I think that's kind of on theme.
Ben, if we start watching monster fucker films, like Shape of Water or something, I'm going to hurt you.
Oh, that is actually such a good idea. I didn't choose that one, but...
Because we were talking about it on the way to get coffee this morning. People wanting to bang Count Orlok from Nosferatu. And people being into banging monsters nowadays. Look, I get it sometimes. But not all the time.
Hear me out.
Oh my God. No, I won't hear you out.
He was definitely a good lover.
He was packing.
I don't know. It was like a shriveled grape on top of a
Okay, he was packing for a dead man.
I don't know. How fast does your penis rot?
I don't know, dog.
What I was going to say is what's the woman's name?
Who?
That's
From the
played by
movie?
Depp, yeah. The character. Elizabeth?
Yes.
She had sex with him once, and she was really into it.
Yeah, but I think that more had to do with the, vampire powers and less about her actually wanting to have sex with a dead man.
I don't know. He might be a
God.
very passionate lover.
Well, we see where that got him.
Butt ass shriveled on top of a bed. Anyways, not the point. I decided to do a more romantic film. And I thought that was a cool thing to do because, especially with things like St. Patrick's Day where we get to watch Irish films, we get to hit films we probably wouldn't cover otherwise because we do this with categories on the board. So I decided to do one of those, like a film that I know we were interested in, but
Okay.
we haven't had a chance to watch.
So it's a film with a romance theme
Huh?
that we have talked about. It's a movie we talked about watching?
Yes. You gotta ink asses.
Ah, shit, Ben. Fuck. It's been a month, too, so I've been thinking about this a lot. A movie we wanted to watch with a romance theme. Nah, I really don't have any guesses, dude.
Okay.
Like, unironically, like, I don't know.
let me reach over to my hiding spot and
You
I'll
hid
pull it
something
out.
while I was in the bathroom?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Well, I didn't want to get it out from the trays. They're very inconvenient.
They are extremely inconvenient. You do need something. Close my eyes.
Okay. Today.
Can I open them?
Yeah. Today, we're watching a little-known film, Lisa Frankenstein.
Oh, this is that new one.
Yeah.
With who is it? There's famous people in this movie.
It's the guy you're thinking about. It's the guy from Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
Yes,
Cole
that guy.
Sprouse. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we talked about this when it came out
Yeah,
because we
yeah.
were interested in it. I never got to see it in theaters. I know you didn't see it, so it'll be cool. So
I'm excited about this one. This is a cool. We rarely get to watch new films on the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. And
Most
this-
of the time, we watch films from like the 80s or the 30s,
yeah, especially the 80s because that's
the
a big year
50s too.
from horror.
We watch quite a few 50s, 60 movies, like old black and white stuff too.
We've watched a lot of 60s, 70s. We haven't really watched a lot of 50s stuff.
I feel like most of our black and white films from the haunted house category were from the 50s.
Were they?
And then we have all that stuff like all the pre-code films too. Those are like the 30s.
Pre-code's the 30s, though.
Yeah. I'm just saying, we covered a large backlog of old films. This is probably the most recent film we've watched on the podcast as of yet.
Probably, as of now.
Yeah.
But that's just because I like really old movies.
Well, they're also just good.
I think they're so interesting.
No, me too. I mean, that's why we do the show.
I mean, we
isn't
have
it?
German Expressionism as one of our random categories.
Yeah, exactly.
But Lisa Frankenstein was released in 2024.
That's crazy.
So technically last year at this point, but
Not that
you know
much
how
further.
that works. Description. Sometimes the best way to find a boyfriend is to make one.
Understandable.
It is totally understandable.
Not that I've done it.
I mean, that's essentially the premise to The Bride of Frankenstein, right?
yeah, that is.
Just got to make one.
Just gotta.
And
figure it out.
also the premise of Reanimator.
yeah.
Or at least the ending of Reanimator.
Oh, the end of that movie is so good.
Length, it's an hour and 41 minutes long.
A little long.
It's rated PG-13.
Stop. We gotta stop doing that.
Bob's afraid of PG-13.
No, I just like 2 in a row. Come on.
Not for the audience.
Is it not?
This is coming out the week after
Oh.
last week's episode, which was
Killer
Klowns from Outer Space.
which is PG-13.
To be honest, it makes sense though. This is, I think, like more of a teen romance kind of film than it is
Well, yeah. Look
a
at who
horror
they
movie.
cast to be in the movie. It's the Cole Sprouse, and then isn't that the girl from Stranger Things?
Catherine Newton.
Yeah, who I think she's what's her Nancy in Stranger Things, right? I'm pretty sure.
I don't know off the top of my head.
I'm pretty sure. Which makes sense, right? You're gonna cast those two. He's known for being in Riverdale, and she's known for being in Stranger Things.
Yeah, he's Jughead, right?
Yeah, which are like two huge like teen shows.
Nancy Wheeler's actually Natalia Dyer.
Oh, who is this?
This is Catherine Newton, but we'll get to that. That's a part of this.
Who is she? Who does she play? Her? She's so familiar looking.
We'll do review scores first. Don't look it up. I'm gonna tell you all this.
No, I know, but
information.
I got him confused now. I want to know.
IMDb gave it a 6.1 out of 10. Tomato Meter gave it a 52% with an audience score of 82%.
Oh,
So I do think audiences somewhat like this film. Metascore gave it a 47% from the critics and a user score of 5.6 out of 10.
that's not awful.
So it's a bit of a range there. So I think IMDb's is usually the most accurate as far as estimations go for general stuff. Awards, 0 wins and 4 nominations.
Oh, that's more than I thought.
So that's pretty decent. For notable actors, we have Catherine Newton as Lisa. She was Millie in Freaky.
I don't know if I saw that.
That's the movie with it's her and who's the other guy in it? He's really famous, but from the early 2000s. Oh my god, what's his name?
I don't know, big
Vince
dog.
Vaughn. Yes, Vince Vaughn. It's Vince Vaughn
Oh.
and Catherine Newton. And it's basically Freaky Friday where they switch bodies.
Oh,
But
okay.
Vince Vaughn is, I believe, an axe murderer. So he's in her body axe murdering people.
That's
And
awesome.
she's stuck as like a 50-year-old man.
Hell yeah, dude. That's actually so cool.
Then we have Cole Sprouse as the creature. I'm sure we all know him as Cody Martin from the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody,
Yep.
as well as Sweet Life on Deck,
Yep.
which is the other one. But he was on 87 episodes of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
There's only 87 episodes of that show?
The original series.
Okay.
And then there's obviously Sweet Life on Deck, which is a
Separate
different
series.
thing. But 87 episodes is a lot. He was on there between 2005 and 2008. So
I guess that is a
three
lot.
seasons
Yeah.
for a Disney Channel show.
That's a lot.
Yeah. That's all said in a hotel. Let's emphasize that.
Well, then they
part.
moved to a boat.
But that's on Deck, which
It's
is a different
show.
series.
Where they got a bunch of spin-offs with like all the other Disney shows.
Did they? I know they had movies. What do you mean
They were
spin-offs?
crossover episodes.
Oh, yeah, crossovers makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm trying... What were they?
The crossover episodes?
Yeah.
Hannah Montana showed up, and then they did Wizards of Waverly Place, and then there was there were a couple more. There was a lot.
Okay. I knew they had...
There was a movie too.
There was a movie. I know they had a bunch of returning characters from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody come on, which is cool. But good show. I know we're on a whole tangent here.
Well, it's
but
because I think we both grew up watching it.
we did. Probably one of my favorite episodes from the entire series is they do a great... It's kind of like a My Wonderful Life episode in Sweet Life on Deck,
That's cool.
where it's like the what if things had been different when we were born.
Yeah. That's cool. The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody Halloween episode is really good.
Yeah.
It's like about a haunted hotel room, but it's good.
It's all fun 2000 stuff.
Mhm.
Next, we have Lisa Soberano as Taffy. She was Audrey in Every Day I Love You. Henry Eikenberry as Michael. He was Colin from one episode of American Horror Story in 2024.
I've never seen that, but I've heard it's really good.
Joe Crest as Dale. He was Ted Wheeler from Stranger Things. He was on there from 2016 to 2025.
I gotta look up who
28
that is.
episodes. We have Carla Gugino as Janet. She was Jessie in Geralt's Game, so that's the
Stephen King thing.
Stephen King one. I believe
Yeah.
she's the main woman.
Okay. We've not seen that.
No,
but
we still have to do a Stephen King category at some point.
Yeah. But I feel like the movie's going to be so boring.
But we don't necessarily have to cover Geralt's Game.
Yeah, I know, but it feels like one of those ones that's like famous enough. Like that came out recently, didn't it?
Yeah, but it's only famous because it was on Netflix.
I guess that's fair, yeah.
There's so many more famous ones.
True.
The two recent It movies.
Yeah.
It
There's
Chapter
so
1
many.
and 2. Pet Cemetery. Not the new one, because that sucked. I was
Yeah.
so disappointed.
Salem's Lot.
Salem's Lot.
Salem's Lot is such a good book.
First movie's good. The new movie, I've heard, sucks ass.
Really? Damn. I love that book. It's one of my favorite Stephen King
There's a
books.
bunch of Stephen King stuff.
Yeah.
We have Joey Harris as Tamara. She was Margot in Halloween Ends.
Wow.
Everyone's favorite Halloween movie.
I've heard that one's really bad.
It's still probably not the worst Halloween movie.
Really?
I mean, probably. I'm not a big fan of the Halloween franchise, but there is one in there that is just ludicrous.
I will get there one of these days.
Around the H2O era, it starts to get a little wild.
It already got too wild. I think by 6 we've lost the plot.
I think we lost the plot in 3.
Well, we definitely lost the plot at 3, but the plot is returned at 4, and then it goes out the window in 5.
That's what happens when you shoot someone 6 times.
You fucker, shut up.
We got Jenna Davis as Lori. She was the voice of Megan in Megan.
Oh, that's cool.
Paola Andino as Misty. She was Jen from Dexter Original Sin, which is the spin-off Dexter TV show.
Oh,
She
okay.
was on 3 episodes between 2024 and 2025. Bryce Romero as Doug. He played Jack in The Maze Runner.
I haven't seen The Maze Runner.
You read those books?
I read the first one. It was okay.
I remember thinking the movie was whatever.
Yeah, I didn't watch the movies.
But I did read those books because someone gave them to me for my birthday.
They're like fine young
They're
adult
fine.
novels. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought the first one was good, but then it's like,
It really got murky in the second and third one.
yep, that's exactly my thought process. And then finally we have Trina LaFargo as Trisha. She played Maya in 5 Feet Apart. For directors, we have Zelda Williams. She's also directed Kappa Kappa Die in 2020.
Isn't this Robin Williams' daughter?
Zelda Williams?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, right?
No, I'll check.
I'm almost positive. The name was so familiar when you said
Yeah,
it.
Robin Williams.
Yeah, I thought so.
That's cool.
Yeah, cool that she's directing stuff.
Not cool about Robin Williams.
No, that sucks.
I'm
It is
always
really
sad about that one.
But
What can you do?
exactly.
Do you like Robin Williams films?
Oh yeah, Robin Williams is so good.
There's some good ones.
His portrayal of the genie in Aladdin is so good.
Well, the role was actually written for him.
It's such a good performance.
So he improv'd a lot of that.
Yeah.
And my understanding is there's like 2 extra hours of stuff they had to cut.
Oh, that's
because
awesome.
he just did so much of it. Next we have writer, that's Diablo Cody. She also wrote Juno.
Oh, I've never seen Juno. I've heard it's good though.
But it's famous, yeah.
Yeah, people like it.
She's a pretty well-known writer. Budget was estimated at $13 million, but the box office was only 9.9.
Ah, damn. Yeah, I didn't really hear a lot about this after it came out. Like, I saw trailers and stuff, but the hype kind of died immediately.
Yeah, I heard stuff about it before it came out, and it looked fun, but like I didn't go see it in theaters and stuff, so I mean that's probably part of the problem. But
yeah,
I think there was some other stuff out at the same time.
I think a lot of stuff in the same vein was coming out at the
that
same time.
outcompeted it.
Yeah.
Because I remember going to the theater when this was playing and seeing something else. Just don't remember what it was. Country of origin, United States. The tagline, and I always think it's funny when I have a description that's similar to the tagline because I write those first, but it is, if you can't meet your perfect boyfriend, make him. Kind of fun. I only got 2 facts because it's a new movie. Not a lot out on it. This is actually the feature-length directorial debut of Williams, so this is her first full-length movie.
That's really cool.
And then Cody, the writer, has stated that this movie is set in the same universe as another one of her films.
Oh.
It's actually pretty famous, mostly because back when the movie came out, everyone thought the actress in it was really hot. But Jennifer's Body?
I've not seen Jennifer's Body, but I've heard of it.
I believe it's what, Megan Fox?
I think you're right. I think it is Megan Fox. Isn't she like some crazy like monster thing that bangs people and eats them or something like that?
Essentially. There's more to it than that.
Sure. When we went to Planet of the Tapes and we watched Slither, it was one of the trailers that played.
Yeah.
What's for Jennifer's Body?
I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember it being
I've never
pretty
seen
okay.
it.
Anyways, that's it. So we can watch the movie now.
Okay.
Be 2 hours long, but we'll get it done.
I'm excited about this one. I'm excited to watch a new film because we don't get to do that a lot on the podcast. So I guess we'll see you guys in a minute.
See you in a bit.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We just finished watching Lisa Frankenstein.
So, what'd you think?
It was cool. I always start the episode by talking about this, or the second half of the episode by talking about this.
I know, we have a format.
Yeah, we have a format. It kind of works sometimes, a little bit.
It's also because I've usually seen a lot of these movies.
True. I don't get the scores. I thought it was much better than the scores let it out to be.
No, I think that's fair.
Which is weird. Like, I would probably say that a lot because I think in a lot of cases we are like quote unquote critics, but we're just 2 dudes watching movies in Ben's house, essentially.
I think you mean our recording studio.
Yeah, our recording studio. Ben's one room, and so we're not as critical, but we do try to be in a lot of cases. Even if I'm being critical, I think this film is much better than the critics gave it credit for.
That's fair. Now, on the other hand, I enjoy being hypercritical.
Yes.
So I could be hypercritical here. And I'll say, I think I agree with you. I liked it much more than the ratings would indicate. But it's not like the type of film most critics would give a high rating to.
Yeah. You're right. You're 100% right.
Honestly, I'm going to bring this up because I know it was last week, but it's for us, we just recorded it. But last week's episode, we did Killer Klowns from Outer Space, and that was also a film where me and Bob both really liked it, but it's not a film critics would score highly.
I think for me at least, the reason I'm putting it out there that I don't think this scored highly with critics and the reason I don't think a lot of people went out and saw it is because I think, at least in my opinion, it's for a very niche audience of people. But if you like it, you're really going to like it. And I think that Ben and I being horror people helped so much with this film.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it is PG-13, and it is, like, horror-ish. Like, it's not very scary, but it's, like, got horror elements.
It's not a high bar for Bob, though.
Not a high bar. You came in not being acclimated to that sort of style of film, and watching this, I don't think you'll have as good as a time as we did. And I think that's probably what happened for a lot of people. They saw, like, teen Frankenstein, like, remake, and they're like, oh, we'll, like, go, watch this. And it's just, it's more for the horror fans than I think most people expect it to be.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, I could see you going to theaters to see this thinking it's going to be very similar to a modern retelling of Frankenstein.
It
And
is, but it's also not.
but not in the way most people would expect. And I said this to Bob a couple times during the movie, and I like 100% think that this is one of those films that watching it, I can tell it's going to be like kind of a cult classic thing in 10, 20 years, because it has such a great vibe for those who are into it.
It has such an immaculate vibe.
And so if you like this, you're going to really like it. And obviously the whole thing with cult movies is they don't do really great upon release, but
yeah.
after the fact, they usually kick up some traction. So if you haven't seen this, because I know I didn't see it in theaters, I'd highly recommend you go watch it.
100%.
With that being said, we're going to do a little bit of a spoiler section here. I'm going to give a brief description, and then we'll go into actually talking about the film. Obviously, recommend you go watch it before I give anything away. But what's this film about? Well, there's this girl. Her name's Lisa Swallows.
Horrific name to have, by the way.
It is a horrific name, but I'm going to be honest, there's no good first name that would make that better.
No, yeah. I mean, whatever your name is, Swallows is just an unfortunate last name.
It's a good bird, though. I like
yeah.
swallows. They're cool.
Fair.
Um,
Like, similar to cocks. Like, you're just screwed.
yeah. You know, there's a Japanese baseball team called the Swallows.
I did know that.
I went to go see them.
We
when I was
talked
in
about
Japan,
it. Yeah.
and everyone was screaming, "Go Swallows!" I'm sorry, that's an aside. So Lisa is a little bit of a weirdo. That sounds mean to say, but she is very much like the outcast in her school. And on top of being the outcast, she's also like the weird, almost morbid kind of goth girl. Not in dress, but in attitude. Kind of reminds me of Winona Ryder's character in Beetlejuice, Norman and Paranorman. Like a kid that's weirdly morbid and interested in death and stuff. And she's having a hard time. But the one person she can rely on is the bust of a dead dude in a cemetery.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that he comes to life and tries to help her out. That's what this movie is.
That's the plot of the movie. Yeah.
It's honestly a pretty simple setup, but it works. With that being said, let's get into it.
Sure.
All right. Is there anything you want to start us off with?
Yes. So, I came in with some bad expectations. I'll put it this way.
How come? Like anything specific?
Because it's called Lisa Frankenstein. That is why.
Oh, really?
The Tide of Frankenstein sort of, and this is just me coming in with, I'm just talking about this because I think other people coming in probably had this a similar experience what I'm about to talk about.
Did you just think it was like a cheesy name?
No, I expected it to be more like Frankenstein. So I expected more of a build up to the body. Like I expected her to build the body, build the machines. I expected it to be more kind of like a sci-fi horror movie in the way that the original Frankenstein is, with like all the electricity and stuff. And it does have some elements, but I just thought there was going to be more time spent on her building the body of the person, but they kind of just circumvent all of that in this film. And by doing it Jason or Friday the 13th Part 6 style, and he just gets struck by lightning and comes back.
What is that? Jason Lives?
No, is it? It might be Jason Lives.
I think it is. Give me a sec. You keep talking.
But basically, they circumvent all that setup and get straight to the monster element. And I actually really like it because everyone knows Frankenstein. So skipping all of the story elements that everyone is aware of and knows gives you more time and space to do other cool, interesting stuff with the film.
Yeah.
Which I think really helps a lot, actually.
It really did free up a lot of time. And it's kind of surprising.
It was surprising. It surprised the shit out of me.
You did not clock it for a long time.
Not a long time, like 5 minutes.
Concerned.
Well, because I was like, okay, she didn't, because I was expecting build-up. Like
You were like, that's the Swamp Thing.
Well, I didn't know. I thought it was somebody fucking with her in like a scary costume or something.
I mean, that's fair. It is Jason Lives, by the way.
It is Jason.
Jump
Okay,
back.
Jason Lives.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they made a good decision there. I will say, while you were like, you had bad expectations because of the name. I thought the actual reasoning behind the name of the film was really creative.
No, it's good in post-watching it.
Yeah. If you're curious, Lisa's name is Lisa Swallows, right? We don't know what the creature's name is, except I'm pretty sure his last name's Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And so, like Lisa Frankenstein, kind of a
Oh,
romance thing.
let me bring this around. This is a monster fucker movie. Since we talked about at the beginning.
They do, yeah.
This is a
they
movie-
do get around to it.
They get around to monster fucking at some point. You can take that how you will, everyone.
But he's mostly human at that point.
Ah.
Almost completely.
Yeah, sure.
Anything else that was kind of like a bad expectation going in?
Yeah, so this I'm keep harping back to Killer Klowns here because this is
Also, you're staring at a poster of
yeah,
it.
it's right there. Once again, why is this movie PG-13, guys?
Oh, it was definitely rated PG-13.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot more I guess like blood in this than I thought for a PG-13.
So I think you tend to have this misconception where you associate violence with ratings, but for the most part, they don't care about violence. They care about gore when they're rating films. And this had violence, but practically no gore. There was only blood in like one scene.
There's blood in a couple scenes, yeah.
2 scenes.
There's a couple scenes with some blood.
I don't know.
It's a movie about a dead guy. Come on.
It was very, very limited.
Sure.
And I can see why it got a PG-13. And, I could tell a couple points where they were limiting themselves. Like, there's one point where dude kills someone.
Yeah.
And we get to see the killing blow, but we don't get to see it actually happen.
Go into the person, yeah.
And so, like, there's stuff like that. But I thought they made a decent movie while limited by that rating.
Oh, 100%, for sure.
I think I would have appreciated more of an R rating.
Yeah, if this had an R rating, they could have gone a lot farther. But I think you lose the vibe.
Yeah, so I think that's a good transition to what this film is. It is like a combination between a romance film, a teen like coming of age film, very specifically reminiscent of like 16 Candles and all those like big 80s films.
Okay.
Ferris Bueller's Day Out, stuff like that. Better Off Dead. And then horror, so like Frankenstein. And if they leaned really hard into one of those, especially the horror over the others, it would have really lost what makes this film unique.
That's fair. No, I think that is kind of the draw of this film is it is a really good combination of all of those things. And I actually think the best things that they combine in this film are elements of like gothic horror, like the original Frankenstein or Dracula, and elements of 80s horror, like slasher films like, Friday the 13th or Halloween. They take those two aesthetics and styles and kind of mush them together in one movie, and I actually think it works really well and delivers not a scary experience, but a very interesting one.
Yeah, and you kind of brought it up here, but we haven't touched on it. This film's set in the 80s. They do a really great job of emulating that.
It's funny.
And I think that is probably the leading factor that leads this film to feel like an 80s slasher. But honestly, I think the thing this film does really well is just a bunch of homages. Like, you can tell the people who made this film knew what they were doing, like, horror-wise. For instance, before we see the creature for the first time, so Cole Sprouse's character, she's watching Bub on TV from Day of the Dead. And, like, it's immediate, like, oh, I had that in my mind of, like, intelligent zombie. Or there's a bunch of Frankenstein references. I think you kind of touched on this already, but it's not Frankenstein, but it's very much an homage to the general premise of Frankenstein. And there's all types of things. My favorite is there's one scene specifically where Lisa walks through some doors in like a long flowing dress and she like flips her arms back and she looks exactly like the Bride of Frankenstein. There's just a ton of stuff like that. Posters on the wall for some sick movies. There's like Dracula and there's The Mummy and a Creature from the Black Lagoon. All great posters to have in your house. Bob's disappointed because I have those up in my room.
No, I'm not disappointed. It's just an audio podcast, Ben.
I explained it. She also has another one that I think is really cool. If you've ever seen it, it's the picture of the moon with the face and a rocket in its eye. It's from A Trip to the Moon by the Lumiere brothers, I believe. I forget what the name is in French.
Oh, we've talked about it before for sure. I don't remember what it is though.
If you're interested, it's from 1902. It's like one of the
it's like one of the first movies.
Just because Méliès was it's Georges Méliès is one of the first like filmography guys of all time. But if you're interested, you can go watch it online and everything. It's very famous. I think it's only like 10-15 minutes long. But I bring that up because I really like it as a film, but also it ties into a really cool thing the film does. Is there's a bookend on this movie of animation that's very referential to that film, but also it feels a lot like other kind of morbid films. I think we've talked about certain scenes feel like Coraline,
Mm-hmm.
or, I mean, this whole movie feels like Corpse Bride.
I was gonna say any Tim Burton stuff like Night Before Christmas. It all has that same sort of vibe, which is kind of what the movie does. I think this movie, honest to God, it's straight vibes. Like
Yeah.
you just have to vibe with what you're witnessing, or it's just not gonna work. It's such a hyper specific genre of film that it's so hard to describe.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was definitely an experience. The best thing about this film was the comedy in it.
Oh, it's so funny.
It
It's
was
so good.
Very, very funny. But the problem with movies like that, and we talked about it before in this podcast, they're really hard to talk about. Because it's like explaining a meme to someone.
If you don't get it, you don't get it.
It's about the experience, and we can explain it to you all you want.
And
but
so many of the jokes in this movie are about delivery. Like every word out of Lisa's dad's mouth is so fucking funny, but it's because of the delivery he gives. And I just can't emulate that.
he's checked out.
He is checked out 100%. I don't even think he cares. Well, never mind, that's a spoiler. I'm not gonna say that.
In general, I don't think.
I don't think he cares. Yeah.
But yeah, there is so many really, really funny parts. Do you have a favorite joke that came up?
My favorite joke in the whole movie?
Yeah.
Well, it's not a joke, it's a reference. But it's so her stepmom's name is Janet.
This is a good one.
This is a really good one. And her stepmom is basically the classic like evil stepmom, like basically trying to ruin this girl's life.
She's such a bitch.
Oh, she's horrid. She's a horrific person. But basically she is supposed to leave and she stays home instead and runs into Lisa's room. And as she walks in, Lisa goes, "Dammit, Janet," which is, of course, a reference to Rocky Horror Picture Show.
And it's like a second and you miss it.
I said, "Ben, you have to go back."
I missed it.
I said, "Ben, you got to go back." That was funny. You got to listen to the reference.
And again, the film's just made up of all that stuff. And it's constant. Like back to back to back. There was a couple moments when we were just losing our shit.
It is so funny.
And, you know, you already kind of brought this up with the dad, but a lot of those jokes work because I think all the characters in this movie do a really good job, like acting their parts. Lisa, her actor, oh my God,
You got it.
it's Catherine something.
Yep. Okay.
Catherine Newton.
Very good.
I was looking at my notes. Let's be honest here. She does a great job because she starts out as like this really shy, kind of introverted person. And by the end of the movie, she's full on Dr. Frankenstein at the end of Frankenstein.
Yeah. I think what is so good about her performance is the range. I mean, and you just said that, but like watching her progression from slow, shy person to gaining confidence because she started doing things outside of her comfort and then going full, like blown, almost mad scientist.
Oh yeah, her hair even does the crazy thing.
It's really good. I think that is part of what makes the film a Frankenstein movie, is it emulates it in ways that are unexpected.
And sometimes expected.
Like
the ending.
There are some very expected ones that are very good.
But yeah, everyone else, the sister Taffy,
Oh, very good.
very, very,
Very,
good.
very funny.
She does like the perfect airhead.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a great like writing choice because she's very much written like the mean popular girl in a lot of 80s movies or just teen movies in general, but she's just kind of dumb and very sweet.
Yeah.
The dad's completely checked out.
Bro does not give a damn.
The stepmom's
Horrid.
but also very self-obsessed. She reminds me of the mom from Hairspray, the one who was
We've
voted
talked about this, yes.
Miss Baltimore Crab.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think a lot of this film stood on the backs of these actors. And of course, Cole Sprouse does an amazing job as the monster.
So my big thing about him being the monster is it is a really, really incredible performance. We haven't talked about it, but he doesn't speak.
No.
He doesn't have a single line in this whole movie.
And first of all, I want to say they do a good job with the makeup.
They do.
Both balancing, okay, I can tell this is a person and it's not horrifying, but they look like they've been dead for a while.
Yep.
And then they spoiler here, he slowly gets better.
Yeah.
You know, like the guy who was turned into a newt in Monty Python and the Holy Grail. And as they do that, they remove makeup, but they do a great job of like keeping it like it looks like reverse decaying in just a really great way.
And it's super slow. And it's like, if you're not paying attention, you will miss it, like, as they do it.
But He does a great performance.
It's really good.
He can't talk the whole time, but it's very emotive
Mm-hmm.
because you can tell what he's feeling,
You can tell what you're supposed to. You can understand what he's going through.
which is impressive because most of the time he doesn't like do actions or anything.
Mm-mm.
It's just
Grunts?
behavior. And again, kind of reminds me of Bub.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I get it.
And I thought that was by far the performance that stole the show for me.
Yeah, but I also think because he's limited by his ability to speak, a lot of his comedy is physical,
Yeah.
and it works because he's a dead body, so he can't feel stuff. So he just does some absolutely absurd things that are so funny.
Also, it's a great balance against Lisa, who's like
Hyper emotive and very
hyper
emotional.
emotive, especially towards the end of the film.
That's fair. I didn't think about that. That's a good point. We haven't talked about the well, we vaguely talked about the effects, like on the monster or the creature. But all the other effects in the movie are also very good.
They're fine. There's not like, for this podcast, a lot of gore effects and all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but they all look passable.
Yeah.
You can tell that's not the focus of the film,
Oh, 100%.
but what was there didn't take me out of the movie, and I do think that is very important. for
Yeah,
stuff
well,
like
because
this.
we get very little, but we do get looks good. And I think that if that stuff is weak, it makes it feel goofy, like B-movie-ish, with the rest of the plot around it, you know?
No, that's completely fair.
Like, that part is very important. It holds up a lot of the rest of the film, in my opinion. Oh, we haven't talked about the music.
That's what I was gonna bring up.
Okay, I'm glad you thought about that.
Yeah. So first of all, this film is steeped in the 80s.
100%.
I think I brought this up already, but they do a great job making everything look accurate.
The dialogue is also super 80s.
Dialogue, home decor, how people dress, like even the stuff in the bathroom that they use for like hair and hygiene and stuff is also very
Mm-hmm.
80s. But I think one of the best ways that comes through is through the music.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, there's subtle stuff in the background, like because Bob brought it up so explicitly. The creature wears a femme fatale t-shirt. Is that what it's called?
Nope.
What is it called?
Violent Femmes.
Violent Femmes, yes.
It's a very good band. I
Femme
like them.
fatale is a character archetype.
It is.
Yeah,
I was very
that's what I was
confused.
thinking about. So that's very 80s. But like the really big one is it's a song by REO Speedwagon.
Yep.
It is I Can't Fight This Feeling Anymore.
Yep.
And they do so many different renditions of it, and it's great.
It's good every time.
The first time we hear it is literally a piano piece,
Mm-hmm.
like classical music style piano piece that
Yeah.
Bob had never heard before.
I didn't hear it.
It's fun.
It's cool. I think the use of music in this film is very, very good because it's period accurate music, which I think is fantastic. I think it helps a lot and really puts you in the mood and the setting.
And if you're talking about period accuracy, the creature likes classical music.
He
I don't
does.
know if you picked up on that.
He does, yeah. But then they bring music back around multiple times, and music sort of has a more important role in the sort of, I don't want to say the culture, but like the world, and at least for Lisa, it's very important. You know what I mean? And I think that that's why they bring it back around. Like there's a whole scene where she's yelling at some dude who's like, "You don't want like your girlfriend to like cool music, blah 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 blah." Like there's something about having these songs recur that she personally likes, and him not liking them. It sort of it works in a way that is the juxtaposition is what's cool, I guess.
Yeah,
That's my point.
I mean, I'll bring up that the first time we hear I Can't Fight This Feeling Anymore, it's this perfect combination of the classical music style and music she's into. And I think that's a good representation of what this story's going for. Because if you haven't figured it out, this is a love story between the
monster
creature and her.
Yeah.
And it delivers. That was the thing I was most interested in this movie, and I think I got a satisfying conclusion for that.
Yeah, I was worried the ending was going to suck.
I was too, but I thought it was sweet. I liked it.
It was better than I thought it was going to be.
While not cheating me from the things I needed.
Yeah, 100%. Because they could really have made it not work. Like there is one specific choice that if they make it, I think the movie sucks. And it's just because it makes the ending unsatisfying.
But they did the opposite.
They did the thing everyone
did
wanted,
like it.
and it worked out.
You got anything else?
I don't think so, man.
All right. Well, then I guess we can go to recommendations.
Sure thing, boss. If you like the 80s as like an aesthetic choice in this film, at least I think is what it really is.
Yeah, what I'm going to refer to here is it Chapter 1 and 2
Mm-hmm.
or Stranger Things.
Yeah.
If you like either of those, it hits that style just as well as those.
Yeah, it doesn't feel
feels.
realistic 80s, but it feels like what you think of as the 80s.
It's rose-tinted 80s.
Yes, exactly. Which, I mean, I'm fine with that. I think it works.
I mean, that's how people our age imagine the 80s because we weren't there.
Exactly. If you like any of the actors associated with this film, I think they all do a really good job. Like, I don't think there's a single performance where I went, that sucked. Like, I thought everyone was the perfect level of, like, overacting, but it's the 80s, so it feels like they're just sort of existing. It works. It's really well done, and it's really well performed. I mean, if you're into, like, horror comedies, it's light on the horror. It's way lighter on the horror than something like Killer Klowns.
But heavy on the comedy.
But heavy on the comedy and also the romance stuff. Like, if you're into that. I'm personally not a monster fucker myself, but I guess I get it. The movie was good, so I'll let it slide.
The Creature does it for Bob.
The Creature does not do it for me, actually. Anyway.
I thought it was that green skin that really...
Ugh. It's not even green.
No, The Creature. From
From the Black
Frankenstein.
Lagoon? Oh, Frankenstein. No.
They're both called the same thing.
I
I don't know. Green skin's really in right now. I mean, Wicked was really big.
Shut the fuck up. Give it recommendations, fucker.
Okay. I brought it up a couple times, but if you like kind of teen coming of age movies,
Ah, yeah, that's a good
especially ones that combine that with the 80s aesthetic, this film does really good with that. I think it hits all the beats that I wanted from a film like that. Again, feels in ways like Stranger Things and It, because those films are also in that same genre of coming of age films, but also 80s. But I think my biggest recommendation here is, like, yeah, this film's really funny. And if you want a fun film, go watch it. But I got so much more enjoyment out of this movie because I am, like, a film person.
Mm-hmm.
There was so much, like, effort that went into the little things. From, like, the posters on the background of scenes or Day of the Dead playing on the TV.
Mm-hmm.
But even, like, the subtle ways this movie referenced Frankenstein. Because, like, it wasn't an exact copy of Frankenstein.
No.
But they took a lot of stuff from the actual story and transplanted it into a new spin on the tale.
Yeah, I mean, because if it's too close, it's too boring and it's not interesting and there's no reason for it to exist. But I think it's, you know what? I just thought about this. It's the exact same thing that Fright Night did, except modern.
Yeah.
And with Frankenstein
the
instead of
80s.
Dracula. Yeah, well, a modern day film.
Yeah, it's just Frankenstein in a 80s suburb.
Yeah.
Just like how Fright Night is Dracula
in an 80s suburb. It works. It is such a good, like, it's like they took the heart of Frankenstein and put a new body around it. And it works. It's really good. I liked it. I thought it was fun.
Yeah. That being said, that's kind of all I have for that. So, rate it.
But it's not a perfect movie. I can't give it a 5. And I don't think you would either give it a 5.
What takes away your points? I'm just curious.
It's very surface in a lot of ways. Because we know Frankenstein, a lot of the story beats that we hit are the ones we want to hit because it is like, you know, sort of an homage or remake of some kind.
That's fair. I knew a bunch of stuff was going to happen before
Exactly.
it
That's what I'm saying. I knew exactly how the film should end. It ended the way I wanted, and it was satisfying. But I think that means there's a level of suspense and mystery in a film
that's lacking
that I want in every movie. Because if there's no twists and turns, I know how it's going to end. Why am I watching it? You know what I mean?
That's fair.
And I think that's the only thing this film needs for me. It needs a deeper layer of something. I want more of a twist. I want it to take the Frankenstein idea and turn it a little more. Just twist it a little harder in one direction, and I think I could give it a 5. But it lacks a deeper sort of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. There's just something missing, if that makes sense.
No, that's completely fair. But you didn't tell me what you were going to rate it.
Oh, 4.5. I'm really close. Like, I'm almost there.
That was such a great spiel. You didn't do the thing I asked for. But
I'm almost there.
no, I think 4.5 is completely fair. That's what I was going to give it to.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like this film, and I had like a 5 level of enjoyment.
Same. Like, I enjoyed this to a 5, but I don't think I could give it a 5.
But yeah, it's one of those films where when I think about it, I'm like, this doesn't feel like it should be a 5.
Yeah.
But I had a 5 rating worth of experience.
But I think that's because we are who we are. Like, we are horror people, And once again, this is a film that I don't think, if you're not into horror and you can't pick it apart like Ben and I can, because we've seen all these older films and have a lot of context, it's just not as good.
Let me put it this way. It's not as good as Fright Night,
No.
but I had a Fright Night
Level of fun.
level of experience.
Yeah. That's fair.
With that being said, outtakes?
Yeah, we marked a lot today.
I don't know if we'll have them. Most of them are us just losing
Well,
it.
there's one particular one that I know is going in the episode.
Yeah, the one where I mocked you.
Okay, I wasn't going to put that one in, but I might now because you mentioned it. Fuck you, Ben. Okay, we'll see you guys in a minute. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the outtake section for this episode of Beware the Board. I hope you're enjoying our review of Lisa Frankenstein so far. I really like this movie. I think it's super duper fun. But without further ado, let's get into the outtakes. This first clip is exactly why you should think before you say things. Ew. I guess that's the first time we've seen him real close up. They're starting to make him look more human. I don't like the color of his skin. That sounds bad.
That sounded really bad.
The color of his skin is off-putting.
Bob's like, I don't like gray people.
Yeah, I don't. Little gray men scare me. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the outtakes. Do we announcements, Ben? This is a holiday episode.
Yeah,
Remember
so
that.
I don't know how this is working out. I assume this came out the same time as today's episode.
Whatever that is, we haven't recorded that.
Probably Arnie.
Probably.
That's the last one we have two for, and
Yeah.
you don't like to have things unequal.
I'm all about equality, Ben.
It could be OCD.
Well,
Can't imagine why.
I don't know.
So yeah, I don't think we have too many announcements. We mentioned this last week, but hopefully as of recording it, this week we're going to work on Evil Dead stuff.
I'm so excited for that.
So that's going to come out soon. We'll try to keep you updated on it. And then we have a St. Patrick's Day episode next month on the 17th, right?
I think you're
Something
right.
like that.
Mhm.
I'm going by what you told me earlier.
I looked earlier.
But
I'm actually really excited for that because I don't know what we're going to watch. Because we're not limited to St. Patrick's Day themed horror movies, and it's all Irish
I
movies.
refuse to watch another Leprechaun film.
But Grabbers last year was really good.
It
And so I'm
was.
very excited.
There's some really good Irish films, and it's cool to have an excuse to do them without a category,
Yeah, for sure.
because then we can do other stuff without feeling bad about it. Outside of that, usual spiel, check us out wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, other podcast-specific platforms. If you're checking us out on any of those, please give us a quick rating or review. That really helps us out with getting traffic on those sites. However, if you really want to help us out, the best way to spread the podcast around is to recommend it to a friend. Sharing is caring, and just have them lend you an ear. That's really what we need.
Okay, we didn't talk about that, but that was so good. That was very good, Ben. Good reference.
Otherwise, you can go over to YouTube, which isn't the best for audio-only content, but it really does help us out. Like, we love seeing you guys check us out over there because we can see likes on videos, views on videos, and our subscriptions. And that's usually how we kind of judge engagement, because it's much easier to understand than our analytics for anything else. And, to convince you to go check us out on YouTube, it does have a couple interesting tools. First of all, we have a a bell button, which lets you get notified whenever we post something new. I'm pretty sure other platforms have that, like Spotify. You can click that and that'll keep you notified. But the big thing with YouTube is it does have a search bar on our channel page. So in case you're looking for a specific movie we've covered, you can search that movie name and see if it comes up with a episode, because we've covered a lot at this point. And if you ask me off the top of my head, I could not list every movie we've done.
Oh, absolutely not. I could get close, I think. But there's so many.
It'd be one of those things that as you're talking, you remember more, but
No, it's crazy. Sometimes I'll be with my other friends and they'll mention a horror movie and go, oh yeah, I watched it for the podcast. Forgot about that one.
yep.
So many.
With that being said, the biggest thing about YouTube is it is one of the two major places to communicate with us at. You can do it in the comment section of a specific video if there's something you want to talk to us about in that episode, or you can go over to Twitter @BewareTheBoard and write Bob a note. Maybe ask him, yes or no, and if he wants to meet you in the woods.
Okay. First of all, I'm immune to stranger danger. I will not be taking any. I will not meet any stranger in the woods for anything.
Bob's like, I'm immune to stranger danger because I'm not meeting anyone.
No, I'm not going anywhere. Ridiculous.
Because your car's broken.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah. But also, I'm not stupid. I'm not trying to go out in
Maybe
the woods
they're trying
again.
to be nice, lend you a hand.
Maybe. You're right, Ben.
But they also could be trying to fuck you over. Just being a total dick.
Yeah. Like Ben said, check us out on Twitter at BewareTheBoard. It's where we post updates about the show, information about the show. Basically, if there's anything you know about the show, it goes on our Twitter. On Mondays, I post a spoiler post for that week's worth of episodes, which is a hidden movie cover you can reveal, so you can watch the film before we do. So in these episodes, you don't get any spoilers or being vague about stuff, you know what we're talking about. Then on Fridays, or whatever other day the episode goes live, I always post a link to the episode whenever it goes up. So if you've ever missed an upload or want to notice it went up, there's always a link on our Twitter. Last thing, we make short form content over on @BewareTheBoard on TikTok and on YouTube Shorts. With the current status of TikTok in the United States being kind of banned, but not really. We don't know how long TikTok is going to be around. But for now, anything that goes on YouTube Shorts will hopefully also be on TikTok. But everything that goes up on YouTube Shorts is like permanent. Like
That's it.
that is staying. But TikTok is a whole other thing, which is not really in our control. So we'll see. But Ben, I think that's it.
All right, well, we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next time.